Hey everyone, Mucklet Douglas Bartholomew Reginald Esquire IV here with a guide on the Quick Heal Warrior, aka the Weeaboon. This is a new build since the recent banner changes and is capable of providing a group with 25 stacks of might, swiftness, vigor, fury, regen, quickness, and for certain fights can bring permanent resistance, has access to group aegis, super speed, and stability by swapping out some skills. I tested this build out in pugs by running all Icebrood Saga strikes, including the Bone Skinner, and doing the daily EOD strike, which was Harvest Temple that day. We had no wipes due to not enough healing. Drop a like on the video or sub to the channel for more content, ring the bell for all future notifications. As always, my undying gratitude to all of the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep this channel alive. More on how you could support at the end. Let's get started. Build and equipment. Tactics, discipline, Bladesworn. Roaring Reveal buffs our Warhorn skills and makes it easier for us to cap our concentration for 100% boon duration. Empower allies helps keep might on the party. Vigorous Shouts buff our shout skills and reduces their cooldown, makes them heal others, and also gives us a boost to our healing power.
Hey, let me see your real war face!
In Discipline, Warrior's Sprint gives us a nice boost to mobility and allows our Gun Saber 5 skill to break immobilization effects. Double Standards is a big buff to the banners that we choose to bring and allows us to keep up quickness on the team. Everything in this column is slightly helpful. We're going to go Axe Mastery for the flow bonus and gives us the better option when we're wielding an axe. In Bladesworn, River's Flow, incoming healing is increased. Healing yourself increases your flow rate. Our shout heals will heal us too, so this will proc quite often. Lush Forest. This is a big one, and part of the reason we chose Bladesworn. Using the first round of ammo on any ammo skill reduces the recharge of all warrior skills, with the exception of equipping or unequipping the Gun Saber or Dragon Trigger. Our shout skills, our Gun Saber skills, 2 of our Dragon Trigger skills, and even one of our axe skills are all ammo-based, giving us a lot of ways to reduce the cooldown of all of our abilities. Do note that Lush Forest has a 1-second cooldown, so don't, for example, slam all your shouts at the same time if you can help it so that they each can proc this. Unyielding Dragon was chosen primarily for the CC. This build does not have a lot of it, and giving CC to Dragon Trigger skills was helpful in that regard. Skills. To the Limit heals Shout, your self-heal, and also heals those around you. You could potentially swap this out for Combat Stimulant, just because this is an ammo skill which can help with proccing Lush Forest, but all the boons that this gives you, you already have access to, and this does not help your teammates in any way, so I found it more preferable to be using To the Limit. But if you see that your uptime on quickness and things like that is suffering, you can use that for more Lush Forest procs. For Great Justice Shout, this and your Warhorn 4 skill will give you 100% Fury uptime. It also contributes to your 25 stacks of might uptime, and it heals others. A small note it's worth adding here, notice the stacks of might last for almost 50 seconds, and the Warhorn 4 swiftness is 40 seconds. The regen on here is 12 seconds almost per pulse, and it stacks up to almost a minute. The boons from this class last a very long time. If you were, for example, tanking Deimos and the rest of your teammates went off into the Shadow Realm to do their thing, your might stacks, your regen, and your swiftness would be on them still, even with them not near you, for a very long time. In that situation, the quickness and fury might wear off before they get back, but all the other stuff would keep going. A unique advantage. Shake It Off is the next choice. Removes conditions, breaks stuns on your team, and it heals allies since it is a shout. This is a flex slot. You can use other things here if needed. I'll go over those soon. Banner of Defense. A large barrier, permanent regen source for your team, helps toward getting permanent quickness, and a team Aegis on demand. Tactical Reload. Reloads 1 ammo of every ammo skill and buffs the next Dragon Trigger. To clarify that, I'll use a couple of shouts right now. They just went from 2 ammo charges down to 1, and now from 1 down to 0. I'll use Tactical Reload. They go from 0 back up to 1. It will not get them all back to max stacks, it just adds 1 to each of them. Equipment. We're running full Harrier's gear gear with 1 pieces of diviner's gear. Combined with a sigil of concentration, that puts us at 97% boon duration. Using a crappy food buff, I'll just use the free birthday cake, we're at 100%. We do very much want 100% boon duration for this build. We're using Rune of the Monk for healing, Axe and Warhorn are our weapons with Sigil of Concentration and Sigil of Transference. A Bladesworn cannot weapon swap in combat. Their gun saber is considered to be their second weapon. However, I have a mace in the first slot of my second weapon set using the same offhand Warhorn, so that if I was doing a fight that was very CC heavy, I could just go Mace Warhorn instead of Axe Warhorn. I have access to another CC skill with the mace and also a block with the mace. If I were, for example, to be one of the healers on Deimos and also tanking Deimos, I would take Mace Warhorn and then I would have access to another block with the mace too. Gameplay. We want to keep Warhorn 4 and 5 and our Banner of Defense on cooldown. Warhorn 4 contributes toward 100% Fury uptime and it is permanent swiftness on your team and helps with quickness. Warhorn 5 is a nice barrier, perma-vigor, and some resistance. A tip. The Vigor duration is the same duration as the Warhorn's cooldown. Watching the Vigor timer can sometimes help you see when you need to swap back to Warhorn to use it again. We then want to use the first ammo of all our ammo skills, prioritizing our shouts, starting with For Great Justice because it keeps Fury and Might up. So to expand upon that, you would use the first 2 ammo shouts, Axe 3 if it was in your hand, use the Gun Saber skill. If no one is hurt, you can then go into Dragon Trigger, burn the first charge only of the ammo skills that are in Dragon Trigger anytime you are in it to proc Lush Forest. Aside from that, the Dragon Trigger itself doesn't really help heal people. It's just damage or CC for when lives are not in danger. Save the last charge of the ammo skills in Dragon Trigger for when you actually need them. If you have used at least 1 charge of all your important ammo skills, use your Elite to reload them all and then do it again. This can also be a source of emergency healing. You could use your shout skills, use the reload, then use your shout skills again. And in a true emergency, you could then use the final charges of them, allowing you to use each of these 3 times in a row. You do want to save the last charge of every ammo skill for emergencies. Even when I did the Bone Skinner and Harvest Temple with Pugs, I only felt pressured to exhaust that last charge a couple of times. That's it for the basic gameplay. Let's talk about that flex slot, which is currently Shake It Off. So this build is currently running 1 banner, and combining that with Lush Forest and higher APM gameplay to achieve 100% quickness and other boons. If that is too much for you to juggle, having 2 banners makes 100% quickness uptime insanely easy. Just drop the banners whenever they're up and that's it. However, having 1 less shout means you have 1 less healing tool. If you are on a fight where stability is on demand or permanent resistance is desired, Slothosaur Raid might come to mind, you could consider swapping out Shake It Off for Banner of Tactics. Only swap out For Great Justice if someone else is covering Fury and Might. If you've got Fury and Might covered somewhere else, you could take Shake It Off and Banner of Tactics both in order to have very high capability of dealing with conditions. I would not ever get rid of the Banner of Defense. It is your only source of regen on the party and a nice barrier. You could also swap out Tactical Reload for Battle Standard. However, the Battle Standard gives Quickness, Might, Fury, and Swiftness. You already have all of those boons covered. The one thing you do get from it is the ability to revive people in an emergency with just a 2-second cast. If that is desirable for you, you can take it. I myself preferred Tactical Reload. The 30-second cooldown on getting all ammo skills back, including the heal shouts, felt very nice. Viability. As someone who has played Heal Scrapper, Heal Mechanist, and Heal Druid over the last few years, this was a unique experience. I'm not sure how this would hold up for the top 0.1% of players that are doing challenge mode strikes and raids, but this is more than viable for all content up to that point. It puts out about 4 to 5k DPS in a still target while in a full healing setup, which is more than many healers, while still doing its job at the same time. Its healing output feels middle ground compared to the other healers. It is better than some, less than others, with constant regen, occasional barriers, and burst heals on demand. If you enjoy Warrior or the idea of being a healer who throws hands, or were in the military and like to motivate people by screaming at them, maybe this is the build for you. Shout out to Erolozen and our community who mains Warrior and came up with this build. If you're interested in more of his content, content, his link can be found in the description down below. Another massive thank you to the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep this channel alive. Your support makes it possible for us to spend more time researching builds like this and working with the finest video editor on Earth. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm, leave a comment with any tips and tricks on this topic, and subscribe for more content. Happy shouting!